Hello, very warm welcome to Monday night and this special night because we're starting the Spring Clean Your Mind meditation challenge. It's also a really special night because I'm down here with my friends and the team of the Monday night meditation. So this is a really big deal. We've got the team here with us and we're meditating together, and we've just had a dedication ceremony to mark the start of this meditation challenge. So yeah, really excited to get started with the challenge. If you don't know me, my name's Mike Trunara. I'm an order member here at Brixton, as part of the True Buddhist order. And so firstly, I'm just going to talk to you about, well, what is this challenge? You may be tuning, you may not even know that you're on the meditation challenge. So that's the first thing to point out, and I'll be letting you know what it is and how to sign up for it. But if you are signed up, fantastic. So here we go. So the first thing to say is, well, what are we challenging you to do? We challenge you to meditate every day. We're going to support you to do that. Brixton Buddhist community are going to support you to do that. We've got this live stream that's happening every Monday for the 6 weeks. And then I'll be following that on in the second half with what we're calling the challenge check-in. So a chance to really talk to other people in the community, ask questions, and help build up our practice, talk about our practice. So yeah, lots to look forward to on the Monday nights as well. Starting with tonight, we've got Emma here, and then every week we're going to have someone from the community talking about what meditation means to them, their journey with meditation, the ups and downs, the challenges, inspirations. If you're brand new to meditation, that's absolutely fine as well. So if you signed up and you're absolutely brand new, you'll have seen that there's our Discord channel. So Discord channel is our online platform, and I'm going to be posting basics about meditation on there, okay? So you can build your practice up from scratch with that. So yeah, the second half of this is the challenge check-in. So really make sure you get to that, because we're going to be really getting into some really important aspects, especially today and then every week. And today we're going to be looking at particularly how to get the most out of the challenge, how to really build the practice up in your life. And we're going to keep you motivated, keep you inspired with lots of good stuff. There's going to be stories, there's going to be little guided meditations, poems, inspirational stuff. All sorts of good stuff that's going to be posted up on the Discord channel to keep us motivated, to keep us going. And if you're not already part of Brixton Buddhist community, just try being a Buddhist for 6 weeks. You can just try it out. You can try out what it's like to be part of a Buddhist community for 6 weeks and see if you like it. So this is the invitation: is to meditate every day and to take part as best we can in the program. And why would you do that? What's the point? Well, simply put, there's just more to life. There's more to life. I think we all know that. A better job, better relationship, better toaster. They're all fine in their own level, but they won't satisfy they won't satisfy this need for satisfaction that we crave in our life. So it's this quality of awareness, quality of our emotional responses that light up our life. So we're finding meaning and value in this very life that we're living, and not some idealized kind of future life. And we can really do that in this meditation challenge, because we can see if meditation is going to work to do that. We don't have to take anybody else's word for it. We can see for ourselves this is going to work for us in our lives. And then how you sign up, well, we'll be posting stuff up, a link up about how to do that. If you're not already signed up, we'll post a link up and you can copy and paste that, and you can sign up at the end of the session. All right, so there we go in outline. This is what we've got to look forward to for the next 6 weeks. And so tonight in this first half, what we're going to be doing is we'll do a 3-minute breathing space in a minute. So it's just a short meditation, basically, that you can do anywhere. You can do it on the bus, you can do it on the toilet, you can do it at home, between meetings. Just a way to really reconnect with yourself. So a way to kind of connecting with what's going on. So we'll be doing that. And then Emma's going to give us a short talk on what meditation means to her. So we're looking forward to hearing that. And then I'll be talking about what is awareness. And I'll go into that because this is what we're trying to cultivate, but what is it? And we'll do a guided meditation. So that's the first half, and I'll say a bit more about what goes on in the second half when we get to that. Okay, so yeah, for now, let's just settle in to our whatever space we're in. We can just settle into on the chair that we're on or on the sofa at home. You guys just settling in and just take your time. Don't need to rush. Just take a moment to settle in. So there's no rush to kind of meditate. You can just settle down and just feel the weight of your body. And feel the contact with the ground. And just come into contact with however you're feeling. And the sensations of your body. And just allowing the legs, the lower half of the body to settle down, release down into the ground. And just feeling your tummy. And just seeing if you can soften in your belly. And softening the shoulders, just feeling the shoulders. Softening in the shoulders. And soften around the eyes, forehead. And then just connecting with the body breathing. Don't need to do anything special, just feeling what it's like to breathe. Where you can feel it most vividly. And then expanding out this awareness to feel as much of your body as you can. infusing your body, your attention. And feeling your weight on the ground, feeling connected with all the others that are meditating together at the moment. Okay, good. So, going to hand over to you, Emma, and yeah, let's give Emma our attention. Yeah, see what we've got to say.
Thanks so much, Noah. Hello, everybody. Hi. Just get my notes. So yeah, when I said I would do this talk, I didn't realise that the theme was awareness. And when I was sort of having a think about why do I meditate, I was just really struck by when I then found out that the theme was awareness, that two of the main kind of reasons that I've been thinking about talking about were kind of linked in, I think, to awareness quite strongly. So to kind of, as I was thinking, like, why do I meditate? I thought it would maybe make logical sense to go back to why I started meditating and be a bit chronological. And so the first time I came down to a session that Brixton were running, it wasn't like a Monday night meditation class because I wasn't really kind of drawn to meditation in particular. I just never really considered it as something that I would be involved in or do. So I came down to one of the Wednesday night classes because I was really intrigued by Buddhism and just wanted to understand a bit more about what is Buddhism and sort of what are all these different things. And one of the things that I was really, really struck by in that first talk, because actually, Matranara, you led a body scan at the start of the talk, and it was my first.
Put you off.
It was one of my, it was like the first time I'd ever experienced anything like meditation, and I was just really, really struck by how I'd just like never ever been aware of my body before. Like I'd just been sort of wandering around like a kind of floating brain, just completely disconnected from kind of anything about how I was feeling for like 25 years. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, that's really sad. Like, I definitely was aware of, like, you know, when I felt rubbish or like I felt ill, but I just wasn't at all kind of, I just wasn't aware that there was kind of this whole other layer of kind of experience and way of kind of interacting with the world. And so, just was really, really struck by that, and sort of came along to some more classes, then did a course, and just over just that kind of first few weeks started to really notice how much more in touch with my body I was, and particularly just like little things like sort of feeling my jaw getting really tight in like kind of a work context that I might have been finding stressful, but just that being like a real first thing, and I'd never really noticed that before. I think I'd always just been like very, very heady about everything. And so and then as I started to notice more about what was going on in my body, it felt like everything was a bit less busy and crammed in my head. I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but it felt like things were a bit less close and there was a bit more space, which was very, very welcome. And then sort of the second reason that I think is also quite linked to awareness was that it's really helped with kind of creating not just feeling like there's a bit of physical space between what's happening and just like my own interpretation of it all the time, but feeling like when something's underway, I've got just a bit more space and a bit more of a kind of choice about how to respond. And so I just feel, a bit kind of not as often on autopilot. And so as something happens, I'm not just like immediately lurching into responding to it. It just feels like there's a little bit more time, and I have a bit more of a chance to basically, this doesn't always happen, but it feels like more often it's happening, where I feel like I've got a bit more of a choice in how I want to respond. And so like particularly in like a difficult conversation or something, it feels like I can sort of see where, if things were all very close still, I just kind of zoom off down my normal track. But it just feels like I'm a bit more, I've just got a bit more space to be like, oh wait, that's how that could play out. But actually that's not how I want to be in the world, and that's not kind of how I want to act. So how could I act instead? And it just feels like there's like a lot more freedom to kind of make that kind of decision. Definitely still very hard. And with both of those things, it really feels like it's, I guess, a bit of like a first taste. And so as I've been meditating for about 2.5 years now, and as I've meditated more, it's like it feels like those things come up more often and happen a bit more frequently. So I feel like basically really encouraged not to kind of stop, but to carry on going. And sort of in all of that, I mean, that all sounds great, obviously, but it also hasn't been plain sailing. So definitely there are times when, particularly in the morning, because I always try to meditate in the morning, because I feel like if I say, oh, I'll just do it after work, then I never do. So I'm always like, no, you've got to meditate in the morning, otherwise it's not going to happen. But definitely, like, particularly before the clocks went forwards, I'd be like lying in my bed, just being like, no, being like, come on, you've got to get out of bed now, and being like, 5 more minutes. So yeah, whenever it's cold or dark, really, really struggle to get out of bed. And then definitely, like, while meditating, I've definitely quite often will feel like my brain click into like a planning gear, where it's kind of just busy, sort of like speeding through different things that could happen instead of being more aware and present. And I was finding it kind of entertaining that just during that body scan, I could really feel myself being like, oh, but like have a quick think about what you're going to say, and then being like, no, this is that in motion. So yeah, it's definitely not all kind of blissful awareness. It's definitely some stuff going on there, and sort of sometimes feeling a bit all over the place. But I find it really reassuring to know that I'm not the only one feeling that way. And so one thing I wanted to do was read a poem from this book, which is basically all written by early Buddhist nuns, and it's really good. So I'll try and do this justice out loud. But it's by someone called Vijaya. When everyone else was meditating, I'd be outside circling the hall. Finally, I went to confess. I'm hopeless, I said. The elder nun smiled. Just keep going, she said. Nothing stays in orbit forever. If this circling is all you have, why not make this circling your home? I did as she told me and went on circling the hall. If you find yourself partly in and partly out, if you find yourself drawn to this path and also drawing away, I can assure you, you're in good company. Just keep going. Sometimes the most direct path isn't a straight line. And I just love that, because it was written like a couple of thousand years ago, and is so relevant, and like really encouraging to just be like, oh yes, it's not just me having this kind of like hurly-burly going on. And so I just wanted to kind of wrap up by saying that it's obviously not just people from the past who it's good to hear about when you're meditating, but one of the things that I've like really like found so valuable is being able to talk to people in the present, like these lovely people here today, and just talking about like how meditation's going and like what my experience has been in different kinds of settings, and like hearing what people are experiencing really makes you be like, oh yes, I can really relate to that. So I just wanted to kind of say that I'm really excited for the 6-week challenge with you all, and also to end on a bit of a plug for the challenge check-in, which Machna mentioned at the start, which follows this first part of the course, and people are sort of joining together to talk online about their meditation experiences. So I'd really, really recommend, if you're sort of tuning in online and you've never joined the second bit before, definitely this week would be a good week to join, because I personally have found it like really, really encouraging and motivating to talk with other people about how I'm finding things and hear how other people are finding their meditation. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say.
Thanks so much. It's great to hear from you. Thanks so much. Good. So, yeah, so I'm going to follow on from Emma and pick up maybe a couple of those themes that you were talking about. And then we'll have a chance to try that out in the meditation itself. Yeah. Well, the first thing I was thinking about is, well, what is awareness? You know, and it's obviously not it's not obviously, actually. It's not a technique. I think it's really important to say it's not a technique. It's not a science. Although there is some sense of testing something out and checking something out for yourself. It's not an art, and yet there has this kind of, it does require this kind of creativity and sensitivity. So meditation is a direct way of working on our minds. And as soon as you say that, then you got, well, what are our minds then? So what are our minds? Well, they're not a thing. The mind is not a thing. Consciousness is not a thing. In a way, we can't say what it is. No one can say what consciousness is. It's beyond words. Buddhism has a lovely word for, in a way, what we're cultivating, which is chitta, which is heart-mind. So you could render awareness as this kind of heart-mind. It's awareness, but we're not with all the feeling left out, not with the heart left out. And what's clear to us, and maybe why we might have taken on this challenge, certainly why us guys are all sitting here, is that it's clear that our experience is mediated through our minds. Everything we think, everything we say is a result of the qualities that are present in our minds. Yeah? So you could say also meditation is about getting to know yourself, okay, which wouldn't do it fully its justice, but it's a very good start. So it's about also getting to know oneself. So being able to turn into your own experience to whatever is happening and be able to be with that. So you get to know yourself, not your idealised self, but yourself as you are. Yeah. But also, we are influencing our minds. It's not enough to just know the kind of content of our mind, so to speak. We're also trying to influence our minds. We're always being influenced. That's the point. We're always being influenced. We're constantly being influenced by the culture at work, by the advertisements on the side of the bus, by what's presented to us in the YouTube feed. We're always being influenced. So we're also trying to work with our minds. We're trying to influence our minds. If we don't do that, well, I could speak for myself, but I know I've spoke to enough people about it as well. We get into trouble. We get ourselves into trouble. Our minds get us into trouble. We react in all sorts of unhelpful ways. Yeah, you could say that all the major achievements, all the major great things that have happened, caused by individuals in this world of ours, and all the most terrible things that have happened have all been mediated by by their minds. So in a way, this meditation challenge is the great challenge of our lives. It's a challenge how to flourish our lives, how to flourish our relationships with others. And meditation, in its broadest sense, I'm going to talk more about this in the second half, is not just what happens when you sit on the cushion. There is a whole context for meditation, and that will influence what happens when you sit down. The context of our lives happens influence what happens when we sit down, and vice versa. So coming now into this word awareness, the word awareness itself is a little bit unfortunate. It's a bit cool. It's a bit too detached. It's a bit too outside of ourselves. It's a bit too, I'm going to sit back here and kind of observe what's going on in a kind of analytical way. And that's understandable. That's understandable that we might have that understanding about awareness. And that is something, that is part of it. You were talking, Emma, about this space to be able to see what's going on. So that's definitely part of it. We're trying to notice what's happening. But it needs something to balance that out. Really, really important. It needs something to balance that out. And what balanced that out is this kind of open-hearted quality. And so you could say it's a bit like what happens with a child. You know, a parent with a child, when they're at their best, they don't have that kind of teacherly relationship with the child. They're just at their level, aren't they? You see mums and dads getting down to the level of their. When they're playing up in the supermarket and you see the mum dragging or the dad dragging the child around, they're up and the child's down there, but then you can sometimes see them just come down to their level, and then things change, don't they? They can change then. So there has this empathic quality also, yeah, when it's at its best. So it's got to be a wise parent, not strict, not stiff. We're getting down to the level of our minds, yeah. But it needs guidance. Child needs guidance as well, doesn't it? It's not just enough to empathise with a child. They run riot if you just do that. They need some gentle guidance as well. So empathy without guidance, and we're just going to get in trouble. Yeah, we've got we don't know what we're doing. What are we trying to do here? So we can get into trouble as well. So we need these both. We need the guidance, and in the case of meditation, in the case of the meditation we're going to do in a short little while, that's the guidance to just come back to the breath. Yeah, just kind of gently kind of nudge yourselves back to the breath. Yeah, not just blob out, not just go off into planning or whatever we feel like doing. No, there's some guidance there. But we're also a willingness to empathise with our experience. Yeah, kind of get down to the level of our experience. And that means especially getting down to the level of discomfort, especially there's been a lot of that lockdown, isn't there, Margaret? There's been a lot of that discomfort, and a lot of the time we're thinking, when this and this changes, then that's all going to be, it's all going to be fine. But with meditation, we're not waiting for something in the future. We're waiting to get down to its level now. Yeah, we're trying to see what it's like being with discomfort, with distraction. Even in a way, distraction's even not very good way to put it, possibly, because our minds are just quicksilver. They're just moving all the time. This idea of a kind of settled, blissful state can definitely emerge in meditation, but it's still vibrant. There's still movement. There's still kind of activity there. Yeah. Albeit it may get to a point where there's a wordless activity, but nonetheless it's never a static fixed state. Yeah? So this idea of distraction, that this is good and this is bad, this might not even be a helpful a way to think about meditation. Our minds are always on the move, yeah, and we're good at just trying to get down to their level. So we're trying to get to a point where guidance, that kind of wise parent guidance, trying to encourage our minds to go a certain way, starts to blend with that empathy, that open-heartedness. So ultimately, they can start to blend. Yeah. But it's so important. It's so important. I think that so often we're just so hard on ourselves. Yeah, that is definitely, I think, the mega trend, so to speak, is being hard on ourselves, being over strict, over kind of aware in that analytic sense. And what does that do? That creates a kind of stiffness, a kind of tightness in our experience. Yeah, a kind of constriction in our experience. So yes, we need this open-heartedness. We need to decide not to get frustrated with ourselves, decide not to get into stories about how we are or how we're not. Decide to really see our minds and our minds as they are. They're quicksilver and they're changeable. Okay, and we're just trying to be with that, with some guidance and some open-heartedness. Yeah. So, a little bit about what awareness is, and maybe a little bit about what it isn't. But I think most important is the exploration. Most important now is the exploration and seeing for ourselves. So in this guided meditation, I'm not going to ring any bells. If anything, we're going to do the third stage of the mindfulness of breathing. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to be posting a kind of clear stage-by-stage guide to how to do the mindfulness of breathing. But this third stage is just being with the breath, being with the breath in the body, experiencing the breath in the body. And as Emma said, in the second half, it's really, really important. We're going to be talking about the five forces which are going to support our meditation, support us in our intent and in our kind of decision to meditate every day, so to see what that's like. Gosh, and we shouldn't judge until we get to the last day of week 6. Then we can really say what meditation effect has on us. But the first of those five forces is setting our intention. Very, very important before we do anything, right? Is that we set our intention. Before we set off, we kind of know what we're trying to do. So I'll guide us into the meditation. Don't need to remember anything that I said. We'll just guide into the meditation. We'll settle into our bodies, and then I'll be inviting us to explore our intention before we move into feeling the breath. Okay, so there we go. So let's do that. Take your time now to find a comfortable posture. I've got this for you. Do you want it? We've got the windows open here for maximum aeration, so it's a little chilly. So if you guys need to get a blanket, then do that. So the important thing is just not to rush, not to rush to get started. We're going to be meditating together in a way we're connected. That's just not an idea. We're connected through this medium of technology, amazingly, all hearing these same words, and all settling in for this period of meditation. So let's just open up to how the body feels now. Just settling down, and just feeling what the body's like just now. You don't need to think about that. That's something that you can contact directly. And then feeling the support from the ground, or the chair if you're on a chair, or the cushion if you're on a cushion. Just feeling that support. Just allowing your weight to drop down into that support. Allow yourself to be supported. And then just softening. Just softening in your body. Just feeling this area of your shoulders. Feeling the sensations, the texture, the sensations in the shoulders. If there's any discomfort there, just willing to be with that. Just letting go. Letting go any sense of tensioning in your shoulders. I just need to imagine that letting go. And then bringing your attention down to your belly. Just noticing any gripping or tensioning in your belly. So often there's a habitual tensioning in the belly. So just allowing yourself to feel the sensation of that. It's okay. Not a problem to be fixed. Just imagining a letting go in the belly. And then just noticing your thighs. And again, softening any holding on that's happening in the thighs. So we're just calming down. Feeling the whole system just calming down. Feeling the sensations in your heart center, wherever that's like, is fine. And dropping in the question, what do I really value? What do I really want? Just allowing any response. If there's no response, that's fine. Or no response in words, that's fine. Softening, allowing. Asking ourselves, what do we really value? What do we really want? And just being with whatever sensations are present there. Softening, relaxing. And opening to a broad awareness of the body. And within that awareness, noticing that we're breathing. We don't need to do anything special about that. Just feeling the body breathing, feeling our body breathing. What's it like? If you notice your mind going off, that's fine. You're in the meditation now. As soon as you notice, not too strict, gentle guidance back to the breath. Texture of the breath. Changing quality of the breath. And if you find yourself going off, just seeing if you can get down to the level of the breath. Come back, contact with the breath. And if you find any tension creeping in, just see if you can be with it, willing to be with it. Softening. Feeling the breath. Coming back with open-hearted awareness, patient, gentle persistence. Feeling the body supported. No need to grip, just letting go into the support. Feeling yourself grounded. And feeling yourself connected to the other people in the community, on the challenge, on this great endeavour of flourishing our lives, flourishing our relationships with one another. Okay, good. So that's the first meditation of the 6 weeks. We're off. So, yes, and there's lots of things going on in the community, in the Buddhist community. Things are really starting to ramp up. So I'm just going to say a couple of those things. Well, actually, going to just say one. There's a course starting on the 20th of April, I believe. I think that's a Tuesday. And that's Virinaga, that's the chairman of Brixton Buddhist community, leading a course on the evolution of mind. So his training is in neuroscience, PhD in neuroscience and brain imaging. So he's got a bit to say about the science behind it, and he's going to map out what I think it's going to be really intriguing. The evolution of the species, physical, biological evolution of the species, and the evolution of mind, and where one starts and finishes. So it's going to be really interesting. So you can book online for that. So yeah, that's just a little plug for that course starting up. So what I really want you to encourage you to do now is just click on the link for the second half. It's really, really important. Don't be, I encourage you not to be, think that you could just want to just sit in the ease of meditation now and carry on with your evening. It's really, really important what we're going to talk about, which is the 5 forces. And we're going to do that in this second half. So the 5 forces which are going to support us in our lives to really make the best of these 6 weeks, the best conditions for our meditation to flourish in these 6 weeks. So that's up there, is it, Cheryl? Well, it will be in a minute.
What, the link to the lounge?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be in the.
Yeah. So it's in the description. So what's going to happen is I'm going to need to have a brief transition because I'm going into the studio to be on that with you. So I'll take a moment or two to get over there. But yeah, just click on to the link, and I'll see you across in the discussion lounge in a short wee while. Okay. Also, very, very big thanks to you, Emma, for your really nice talk. Really, really interesting opening talk. And thanks everyone for being here. The guys here, they're going to go into the second half here and do the 5 forces amongst themselves, and we'll do that in the discussion lounge. Okay. See you in a minute.